Vidar and Catherine Ligard are the founders of SafariMission.org. Vidar Ligard is also the author of A Fork in the Road, a book that gives you life lessons you were not taught in school and that the church did not tell you. And that is what Safari Mission Podcast is all about, teaching practical steps to personal growth and development. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Vidar and Catherine Ligard.
Welcome. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about chicken farming, and more specifically, how to start a chicken farm. Excited about today. We have Bishop Paul Ngandi with us. He has years and years of experience from ministry, from starting churches, seen many things, and he's also been involved in starting a chicken farm. So, Bishop Paul, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much, Reverend Vidar. My name is Paul Ngandi. I come from Kitui County and Mwingi sub-county that is in Kenya. I'm ministering with a ministry called Gospel Impartation Church in Mwingi, the presiding bishop. And I've been in ministry for over 30 years now. And I thank God that the grace of God has been sufficient in my life, in my ministry, in my family. I'm married to Penina. We are blessed with 3 biological children, and my son is married, and my daughter is married. One of our last born, who is a girl, is not yet married. She's done with college. And we thank God. We are doing ministry with all of them. They are born again, spirit-filled, and we are serving the Lord together. And we thank God for everything. Yeah, I think maybe about chicken, I will tell you more, depending on what you want to hear.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, how many churches do you have at this point, Bishop?
Right now we have 13 churches. We have two branches here in Nairobi, one in Thika, and most of the other churches now are in Kitui County.
Yeah. So obviously with these churches, you have quite some experience of starting. I would presume most of them probably started with nothing or not with much, and they have been built from scratch.
Well, yeah, actually, not even with a little, but most of the times I've started with nothing. Yeah. Because our first church, we started our first church with my wife, and we were only my wife and our children. And that time our children were small. And we didn't have any member anywhere, and we've grown that church to over 200 members and with 10 branches. So we have actually 2 times we have started from nothing. The first time we started a church with a different ministry, and we built that church to over 300 members, and we planted 10 branches. Then we moved to a new ministry, which is we are in now. And when we came to Mwingi town, we started, this time around we were less because our 2 children had finished the primary level and the secondary level. Now they were in college. And we are only the last born, who was our member, number 1 in the church. And and she was there. And my wife would lead worship and I would preach. And then she would interpret as well, because we were ministering to people that were mixed, not Kambas only, so we wanted everybody to hear the word. So she would lead worship, then I would preach, and she would still become an interpreter. And thank God we had some equipment. You would hear the equipment like there are very many people, you come there and you find it's my daughter and, and myself and my wife. But we thank God because that church has grown now. We are over 100 members. And now we have planted 13 branches, and we thank God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that we are seeing growth in the whole thing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people growing up, teenagers coming up through school and all this, we're trained, you need to do well in school so you can get into the next school, and you need to do well in that school so you can get into the next school so that you can eventually go through college, finish education and get a good paying job and all of this, and then you live your life with a good paying job, and then you look forward to retirement. That's kind of the way sometimes we're trained in society. Starting something from scratch is quite different from the path of going down employment. What have you seen in your life regarding the mindset? Because I know the mindset is a little bit different from somebody who's actively pursuing finding a job versus somebody who's going out there and starting something from scratch. What are some key differences between these mindsets?
Well, I want to say that a lot of people want to go to school, finish school, and get white-collar jobs, which may not be there. Coincidentally, our children, 3 of our children, they are done with college, but all of them have said they don't want to get employed. Each one of them is doing something different on their own. My son is raising chicken together with me. Our firstborn daughter is doing business in other field, as well as a young daughter who has finished college. She also doesn't want to get employed. She wants to do own things. And we have found that when you are free to do your own things, starting may be different or difficult, but at the end of the day, you find you have better freedom. You can make much more money than when you are employed. So the mindset of employment, sometimes I think people and the young people need to revisit that and begin to know that you don't go to school to look for a white-collar job. You go to school to get exposed, know how things work, interact with the people, and become more wiser. And then you can venture into your own things, and definitely you will succeed. Yeah.
Great. Now you say your son has started a chicken farm.
Sure. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean? Is that 5 chickens at home at the house? Is that a chicken farm, or what is this thing looking like?
This is something that started back in 2015. In 2015, we started with about 300 chicken. We bought chicks, 1-day-old chicks. That time I was working in the farm alone. My wife is a teacher, is doing some work with the Ministry of Education. So we started with about 300. And that year, I was still in Bible College, in Rema Bible College. So one time, I'm in college and it rains heavily, and water enters into the place where we have kept our chicken, and 200 of them die.
Oh, yeah.
And they die completely. And so I am in Mombasa, I am in college. My wife doesn't tell me because she doesn't want to distract me from the studies. So when I come back, I find they are dead. Okay, I find that's okay, but then we can stew. So we did that 100 that was remaining. Then we planned to get more chicken, and we continued doing that. 2016 came, and we increased the number to 300. And 2017 we increased it to 400. 2018 we increased to about 600. In 2019 we had 1,000 layers. That's 1,000 layers. 1,000 layers, and that was before COVID hit. So and they were doing quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it only requires commitment.
Commitment.
Yes, commitment. There is a lot of commitment in anything you do. Of course, obviously, it requires commitment, and raising chicken requires commitment. And then you also need to learn from other people that have done the same kind of work. Because one of the challenges that we found with the poultry farming is there are no more. There aren't technical people that are ready to help. We have consulted with the technical people, but whatever kind of information they give you, you find it's not sufficient. So
when you say technical people, you're talking what, university professors or?
Anybody, university professors, or maybe people that have gone to college and they have done animal husbandry. They are in the veterinary department. They are supposed to help you to know what kind of things to check on. We find they have a lot of information in their mind, but they don't have the practical part of it.
Information in the mind without the practical.
Yeah, that's very sad, because they will give you this information, but you say no. You go to a farmer who has succeeded in this thing and you get the real thing. So,
I think for all of our listeners here, you're bringing up a very important point.
yeah.
Because I've found with my own experience too, if you want solid, good advice,
Right.
you talk to people that have proven that they know how to do what you're trying to do yourself.
That's very true.
And I've just going back to my own schooling experience. I remember math professors.
Yep.
At times we would ask the math professor, so what's a real life application to what you're teaching us?
Mm-hmm.
And one question, and his mouth was closed.
Yep.
He doesn't know how to answer, so he's a theorist.
Yep.
And we would go to engineers that had real life experience. We would ask the same engineer, so how is this used?
Mm-hmm.
And the engineer would say, well, the concept you're learning in math is an important concept, but this slight area that maybe the math professor is emphasizing actually isn't used in the field. It's this other side that is very, very important you pay attention to, because when you get to the field,
Yep.
that's the part you'll actually use.
That's very true. I found it also, like in chicken rearing, we found that like in 2015, we had a lot of challenges. Especially, we didn't know how to take care of our eggs when they're laid. They would break almost 90%, and we lost almost. So
90% of
almost
your eggs broke.
of our eggs broke. So I would consult with the officers, agricultural officers, and they had no idea on how we could protect our eggs from breaking. So we had to visit some farms and see, what do you do with your eggs? So these are the people that gave us practical way on how to take care of our eggs. And when we applied that, we saved 90%. Actually, 99%. Because I remember when we applied what they told us, you could go to that poultry house and you don't get one egg broken.
Was it a feeding issue with the chickens that they weren't getting the right diet?
The feeding was an issue, but also the laying boxes.
The laying box.
The laying boxes were the greatest issue. So when we had to go and now learn and make better laying boxes, and know how to shield those chicken from the ones that are laying from the others,
Mm-hmm.
and to protect them from pecking the eggs. Those were things that we didn't know. So we came up with a structure that could help us to protect the laying eggs from pecking their eggs. And that saved a lot.
Now, I'd like to go back and ask you some questions here, because this is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You're starting with 300 chickens,
Right.
so you're investing some amount of money in order to get these 300 one-day-old chicks.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a man of prayer. I know you're a man of faith. I know you can fast, you can preach, and you know the scriptures. But yet you still ran into a setback early on. There must be some emotional feelings that's involved with this. And I've seen personally many people over the years that you start on a business, and the first setback you run into, you kind of quit and go, I guess chicken farming is not for me.
Yeah.
How did you handle that?
Well, one of the things that I had about chicken is the passion. Even today, I have a lot of passion about chicken. And even that setback and many other setbacks, like we had chicken there, we couldn't harvest the kind of eggs we thought we were going to harvest. I never got discouraged. I said, okay, this is discouraging, but I'm not going to accept it. I am going to move forward. I know it's in my heart. So I have to look for a way to get the answer.
Look for a way to get the answer.
To get the answer.
Uh-huh.
So I would pray and listen in my heart on what I'm supposed to do. So at one time I am praying, and the Lord opens my heart. Why don't you consult with so and so? So I go to this farm and I consult, and I say, oh, that's where I'm missing it. And then I come back and apply, and it works so well. So the worst that anybody can do is to give up.
The worst you can do is
Yes.
to give up.
Yeah, sure.
Because setbacks you'll run into,
You
isn't it?
definitely, they are there. They
Yeah.
will come. They will always come.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that they come to teach us on how we can progress. They come as lessons.
They come as lessons.
As lessons. We learn from them.
So every setback is a potential for a lesson.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is. So those setbacks have helped us to accomplish a lot. And now, actually, I could say without bragging today, I think I'm a professor now in poultry farming. And I have never gone to a class on poultry farming, but out of experience, I can manage any farm. Even if it's 100,000 chicken, I'll have no problem. I know how to manage, I know how to feed, I know how to treat them, I know how to prevent them from diseases, that kind of a thing. Yeah.
You're mentioning a whole lot of different areas here. You've mentioned, well, they can't be flooded when they're 1 day old chicks. They might die.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the correct box that the egg drops into, so that the chicken won't destroy its own egg.
Sure. Yes.
There is feeding issues.
Yes.
There are health issues.
Yes.
So over the time, I would imagine that you have done something to gain this knowledge.
Sure.
You've mentioned that you've gone to some other farms, finding some other people that are doing well in this area.
Yep.
You have mentioned that you pray and you ask God for wisdom, and sometimes He'll lead you to the right person to talk to.
Sure. That's very true.
I find these advice very interesting because it's specific to chicken.
Yeah.
But the exact same advice that you apply in any kind of a business.
Sure.
I remember the first time I'm writing a book. I haven't written a book before,
right.
And composition was never my favorite subject.
Right.
But I had a message in my heart I needed to,
Mm-hmm.
that I knew needed to get out.
Sure.
So I'm asking a lot of people that have written other books and find the ones that are successful, not the ones that wrote a book and never sold a book.
Sure. Sure. Yes. Yes.
But asking them a lot of questions, what is the process like, so that I had a very good idea of how big of a project is this before I even started. Because you can think this is, you hear of people, they write a manuscript in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Other people are saying, well, you need to expect that getting that book in a shop someplace is going to take you 1 year.
Yeah.
Which one is right? So you start asking a lot of questions, you need to find out a lot of answers. So that's a completely different area of writing a book versus starting a chicken farm.
Sure.
But at both experiences is you go to people that have done this and you ask them a lot of questions and you get a lot of different answers.
That's very true. There are some people you will go to ask them on how to do things and they discourage you. They tell you, like a lot of people told me, chicken, you want to begin chicken? It's not doable. I mean, you need a lot of this and that and that and that. But the thing was in me. So I felt, no, I'm not satisfied with that. I need to get somebody who can tell me something that is encouraging. And that's what I did. You move from this person who is discouraging you, and you get somebody else and say, no, there must be somebody who can tell you the truth. And that's what actually I did. And at the end of the day, I knew it is doable.
Yeah. Great advice. There's a couple of scriptures that you're reminding me of. There's one here in Proverbs 12, verse 11, says this, that whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits lacks sense.
Right.
We've both been in ministry for some time.
Right.
And we've seen people that are praying and asking God for prosperity. I don't know about you, but I have seen plenty of cases where people pray and don't do much, but when you start working your land or start engaging in opportunity, something happens.
Sure. Prosperity is our right, but you've got to work. It teaches us on how to find wealth. It teaches our hands on how to find wealth. If you pray for prosperity and you don't work, nothing will come, because God will use your hands to provide for you. So you pray, I pray, God gives me direction, and then I go to work. And when I get to work, I have results.
That's awesome. Here's another one. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. The people curse him who holds back grain, but a blessing is on the head of him who sells it.
Wow, wonderful. That's great.
There's a blessing on the ones that take their hands, get active doing something. And I like how you said it, that you pray, you believe God for prosperity, but it's the wisdom, but you still have to put action to that wisdom and do something with it. So,
sure.
Bishop Ngandi, we appreciate you. We thank you for all the wisdom.
Amen.
And keep on tuning in. And hopefully one day we'll hear more from Bishop Ngandi. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Well, that's it for today. Watch out for our next episode with teachings from Vidar and Catherine Ligard. Like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages at Safari Mission. You can also visit our website www.safarimission.org or call us at +254 74 1777 805 to know more about Safari Mission and how you can get yourself a copy of Vidar Ligard's book, A Fork in the Road.